What's going on YouTube? Ichi here, and we're back with another video. And before I get into it, I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, Ichi, where you been? It's been like 3 weeks since you uploaded. Yeah, I know. Like, life gets in the way, and it gets hard to keep up with the YouTube game. And, I don't got the best equipment, so it takes forever to edit, upload. Then you gotta deal with artist block sometimes, so, it gets kind of difficult, especially life is just coming at you. But nevertheless, I'm here. That's all that matters. And let's get into this video. For this one, it's going to be a bit of a lengthy one because I slowed down the video process so you can kind of follow along better, because I feel that if I speed it up to a certain degree, it gets harder to follow along with what I'm doing. So this videos are going to be around like 20 minutes, and it's going to take forever to export and upload, but it's worth it for the picture that I did. It's basically my manga characters that I drew. I've been wanting to draw them. It's the main protagonist and the main antagonist, and I was trying to, how to explain it. Basically, I was trying to sketch out the best, like, positioning of the characters, and the best composition, and I was trying to come up with the best one. And I drew one before, but I didn't like how it was. The composition was awful, and the anatomy was awful, and I was like, nah. So I scrapped that, and then I redrew it, and it came out like this, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. So then I started to finalize this. And that's the problem with like artist block. Like, it's hard to deal with, like overcome, because like you get stuck on a certain picture, or you won't be able to like draw, like you won't be able to come up with anything. But it's like, you won't get through it unless you produce something. It's like you just have to push through it. Well, for me anyway, because people are different and they handle things differently. But I get this like anxiety. It's like, I gotta put something on the page, but I'm not confident in it. But you gotta, you just have to throw something out there. It's kind of like writing. Like when you write, like you have to produce something so you can edit it and revise it and adjust it. But you won't get to that stage unless you create something. It's the same thing with writing for me, personally. But yeah. I think I went over it, but I outlined her upper half with the Micron pen because the lines were kind of thin, and I felt that the G pen, because I like using the G pen for thicker lines. I like drawing with thicker lines. That's just kind of my style. But I felt that the G pen couldn't best capture the lines, because like the lines are so thin that I felt the G pen would be like, it would obstruct the artwork. So well, yeah. Yeah, the problem with drawing with a G pen is like it's rough, because sometimes the ink doesn't flow properly through the pen nib. So you get times you're trying to like sketch out a line, but the ink won't come through. Maybe it's the type of ink that I'm using. I'm using India ink. Yeah, I have that happen to me like a couple times, and I just changed the pen nib too. I got a new pack, and I just changed it. So But I had that moment where I'm trying to draw a line and the ink won't flow through. I think it ends up getting blocked by, because the ink dries up, from using it, and then it dries on the nib, and then I think it, blocks the reservoir, so the ink doesn't properly flow through the nib. Yeah. That's like one of the cons of drawing with a nib pen. Just checking to see if the line is dry. Because I had that happen where I'll draw a line and then the ink didn't have enough time to dry. Then I'll go over it with my hand and it'll smudge it. Like, damn. Let's try and draw her feet. Like, with my setup, it's hard to do because the camera's like right smack in the middle of my work area, because my setup is like terrible. It's pretty ghetto. I just use it to get the job done, but I gotta work on getting the actual workspace. But time and the money. But it gets the job done. But yeah, so it's hard for me to draw her feet at this angle with the camera right in the middle. But yeah, she came out cool. I like the position that she's holding her sword, like she's ready to like draw it. I think it's cool. The sword's cool too. I need to work on drawing backgrounds. I've always been putting that off. That's like my least favorite part of working on a comic, is drawing the backgrounds. Like, I only draw them when it's like necessary. Other than that, I'm more interested in drawing characters, because honestly, characters are what make the story, and they're the most important element, in my opinion, for a comic. I mean, the backgrounds are important too, so you can understand what the characters are and the world that they're in. You can understand that and relate to it, or depends on it. It helps establish a setting too, because you want to know where the characters are and what kind of world that they live in. Like, say if you have like a sci-fi story, like you want to have a sci-fi background and setting to help further emphasize that, yeah, they're in the future. There's like flying cars and like all this technology. It helps fit the motif and help world build. It helps build the world that the characters live in and reaffirm that. So the background is important as well, because it helps reaffirm your world and your setting and characters. But to me, like, my favorite part of working on a comic is the characters. Just working on the antagonist here. Like I said, my story has this like Middle Eastern like aesthetic and setting. So like the characters match these theme to a certain extent. So the main antagonist is gonna have that. And but yeah, like, I really want to work on this story, but I just don't have the time. I work like full time, but and the days that I got off, I'm either editing or trying to draw with what little time I have, or I try to get my gaming in, because I game too. So it's kind of hard to balance everything. Or I got like other shit to do. You gotta run errands and all that shit. So it gets hard to like juggle everything. But yeah, I was looking at a video and it was about a mangaka. I forgot his name, but it was basically talking about the lifestyle of a mangaka, and like how they go through their day and how they go through their schedule of just drawing. And it's like that lifestyle is like, it's hard. for like a weekly mangaka, like who produces like chapters weekly, is like really rough. Cause like you're constantly, drawing like that's all you do. Like you wake up at like 5:30, and then you do what you gotta do. Well, this is what the guy did in his schedule. Like he woke up like 5:30, got his studio ready, clocked in at like 6, and he was like just drawing like for a good minute. Then he had like assistants come in around like 10, and they would help out. And it's like, yeah, he's basically drawing all damn day, And like, yeah, like that's part of the job, Because like when I was working on my comic Poker Soul, like I was in school at the time, so I didn't have to worry about work. But even then, like I had to balance school and work and drawing. But then I graduated and I had a little bit more free time. I had a lot more free time, so I basically was finishing up my comic, and that's what I did. I would wake up, like as soon as I wake up, I would like get cleaned up, and I would just start drawing, and I'll be drawing like all day till like the sun comes up, till the sun goes down. I'm just drawing. And then it's like, yeah, like that's the lifestyle. But like, like it wasn't a bad thing. Like I was happy doing it, especially when you see your finished product. You're like, yeah, man, this is great. I did this. My hard work like paid off, and you get to look at it and reflect. And that's like the thrill for me. Is when I finish a project, I get to reflect back on it. I kind of see like what I learned and what I need to improve on and all that. But yeah, it's like I'm ready for another comic. Like I'm really eager, and I want to do one, but I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time. Because you got to commit like all these hours to drawing, but it's like I know I work so much that I don't have the time. And that's like the sad part to it. There's another video I was looking at, and it was about another comic artist, and he was basically reflecting on how he got overwhelmed with the process of creating a comic, because like everything was going good for him, and he wanted to approach this more realistic style of drawing. And then like by doing that, it it takes more of a toll on you. Like if you have more of a realistic style, then that's more time you have to put into the page to capture that realism that you're going for. So like he was taking like, what did he say? I think he said like 10 hours a page or 2 pages or something. I forgot what it was, but it was a real long time. And it's like he was talking to an editor, and he was like, yeah, you're taking way too long. You won't even be able to finish a book in like a year by that schedule. It's like, yeah, well. Then the artist he was talking about was like, yeah, but I want that realistic art style. I don't want a simple art style. That's like, yeah, it comes with the territory. You got to compromise. You got to be able to do what you're capable of doing. Especially if you have to meet a budget, deadline. That's why like mangaka, they have like assistants and shit to help them out, and they can meet their deadlines. But that's more people you gotta hire, more people you gotta pay. So it's like it's no easy way around it. Cause he was just one person doing everything. from like characters, the backgrounds, the shading, text, writing the story. That takes time too. Like it's easier when it's like, well, theoretically it's like easier when one person, but it's harder at the same time because there's all these jobs that the person has to do. I think it was working digitally. It's easier working digitally nowadays because there's much more you can do. There's, like, you can cut a lot more corners than working like traditionally. So it's easier. Me, I kind of wanted to play around with different styles because I like drawing traditionally, and then I also wanted to try combining the two, digital and analog. But I gotta buy more equipment to be able to do that. I also need to get a new computer because the laptop that I use is like really old and outdated. This is like old MacBook Pro, but it's old though. I gotta research it again. I forgot the principles of it, but it's like it's part of this Indian. That's my cell phone. But it's part of that like Indian kind of culture where they had like all these arms and junk. Like I forgot what it was. I gotta research it again. But I think one of the gods, like, they have all these arms on them. And it's part of this like as far as this religious like aesthetic. But yeah, no, like you shouldn't do something that you don't like. Like you should focus your energy towards something that you're passionate about. And being an artist, comic artist, it's like you have to love what you're doing to push yourself to, do it every day. Like if you hate drawing, or if it annoys you, or if whatever, if it just gets to you, then it's not for you. Because being a comic artist, it requires a lot of time and effort and patience, and you got to put in a lot of work. It's a commitment. It's really a commitment. Like if I can live comfortably off of my art, then I would do it. I'd be able to commit to that. Waking up early, sunrise to sunset, just drawing. I can do that. I did it before. I can do it. But it gets harder when like you got like responsibilities. Like I don't have anybody dependent on me, so I don't gotta worry about that. But when that's a factor, then like, yeah, you guys think about your life here and how you're gonna be able to provide for you and whoever you got dependent on you. And then like that might not seem logical because like the comic industry is just not like booming with like money. Like art, like you're not gonna make mad money like being an art. So like it's a career you have to be passionate about and only care about the passion in your art. Because if you're in it for money, then you're in the wrong business. Unless you hit like, unless you like mad popular, like that One Piece creator, Oda. He's on volume like 92, and he has all these movies and spin-off series and games and Like unless you that successful and that popular, then like you're not gonna be like raking in the dough. You gotta be real popular. But I don't know. But yeah, it's my phone again. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video. You know, I was just talking about the lifestyle of being a comic artist. And let me know your thoughts about it. Like, are you willing to sacrifice your schedule for your art? Or if not, let me know why. But yeah, this is gonna be Ichi. And I'll see you guys around for the next video. Peace.